Okay, so the next thing I want to look at, just doing odds and ends today. I guess I should do a reminder for people watching the recording later. Yeah, so we were looking at a bunch of just random odds and ends. I'm falling asleep. I've been sitting there trying to figure out why I'm so tired because I've been drinking coffee like normal. But all weekend I was drinking Turkish coffee. So I just realized that my body's probably like, where's the rest of the caffeine? There's way more of a cup of coffee over the weekend. I'll try to wake up a little bit here. But we were looking at odds and ends, things that over the years I've found can be useful that are not covered in our textbook. And yeah, there's, I guess, also to kind of show that there's still a lot to go as far as learning this. We did have to pick and choose what fits into the class time constraints. Everything that CSS has would be way more than we can fit. But hopefully y'all are starting to feel like you got to get a good start into it. So I need to add this. We did the second page. Link reference is meter.html, and we just shoved a bunch of other stuff in that same one. Meter, element, and more. In the tag, or into the link, and then in the list item. I'll start a new one here. This is abbreviations, so once again, we'll just save it. Abbreviate.html sounds like a good name for it. And now that it knows it's HTML, can kind of pull in things from the template. Get rid of a bunch of the clutter that we don't really need here. Where would abbreviations fit in? I don't know, making up a random sentence here. Athletes in the NFL typically aren't known for their race car driving skills. That's a true statement, right? They might have the ability, but that's probably not why they're not what they're known for. So nothing fancy on that one, but if we go ahead and open it up, we're already pointed to the right folder, so just change the file. But the internet's we have no trouble with that sentence, right? But the internet's sort of a very large thing, covers the whole world. A lot of people aren't going to know what NFL is right up top of their head, although they might have something called NFL in their country. But start to wonder what that acronym is. So that's where the abbreviate tag comes in really, really useful. Which abbreviate is abbreviated, so ADDR tag. And then we give it a title attribute. So for NFL, we'd say National Football League. And after NFL, in that, so spelling out what that acronym is for. Oh, what a
athletes in the butt. Oops.
Where'd the rest of this stuff go? Oh, somehow I erased those words. We try putting those back in. Okay, yeah, I'm falling asleep apparently. There we go. See how we get that little squiggly underlining? You may have seen it on a page before, maybe not. But then when you hover over it, so gives us a nice little hover text. Acronyms show up all the time.
When it I think when it like auto filled in the ADDR,
yeah,
it ain't the NFL. I think
That's probably what it is. And
Yeah, I haven't even, when it auto filled it in.
yes, it's taken me apparently hours this morning to realize why I'm so tired today, but now that I realize there's not much I can do because I can't really make Turkish coffee in the office. It's one, it's also made on sand. Heat up sand and then you boil it. Use that instead of like a pan or anything nice. It's really nice over the weekend, but my body is, that's gotta be why I'm so tired. Remove the CPU carefully.
Could just chug a bunch of coffee.
I could try. Actually, that's what I did on the break. It does seem to be helping.
Just drink the whole pot.
So yeah, a sentence, right? Might be a couple reasons we would need to abbreviate this, the normal spelling it out. But if you're put like this, you're giving instructions, right? CPUs are usually, at least on a tower, would be spring loaded. So along with the abbreviation, right, our abbreviation tag, title, what goes in that little box that pops up, we might want to give them some sort of message, computer. I don't know how to say computer. I know what CPU stands for, Central Processing Unit. I thought I knew what it stood for at least. And then some, be careful, this might be string loaded when you release the clamp. Which actually, it is definitely spring loaded when you release the clamp. Okay, yeah, it didn't erase it that time. And then when we hit that acronym, we have a bit of hover text there. We get that little squiggly line there that you've probably encountered on the internet before. That's how you bring up hover text, and very, very useful. Let's see, you need something else, maybe
I have seen some of those where it'll have like images for that too.
that's what I was getting ready to do. Yes, we can put all sorts of stuff in there. And they actually improved it recently. So the odds and ends for next Wednesday is when I was going to look at the new ones that just came out last year. I'm just going to do something quick here. I grab one of the brushes, the crown, that'll work. We grab yellow, then over here, something like that, black. Get a little smiley face going. There we go. So we got some sort of image. We can fill in the background. Blue and where's the background? There we go. Save that. Do y'all remember when we looked at image maps a couple weeks ago? Something that can be useful. We have a picture and put links in our picture, but also over the years, people have done that. So in situations where there might be information that would be illegal not to share with the stockholders. For example, if the logo is a clown with a pointed hat and a red nose, they might put an image map where you have to click on the logo, click on the clown's nose and the logo. Or another similar situation, if the logo is a young girl with red hair and ponytails, you have to click on her left ponytail in order to see that her left ponytail has the only link to the page that holds information that would be illegal to not share with investors. So image maps, they don't do that stuff with them, but yeah, it's not an ethics class. We're just talking about how to do it. People that first thought of that use for an image map got a pretty nice bonus that year, I would assume.
Well, up until they probably got fired for all the fallout from that.
So yeah, so there's a few things like it didn't work out well in the long run, but they probably got a really, really nice bonus that year,
Uh-huh.
the first year of it. Let's add a couple of brake lines in here. Oops.
Up until it got figured out.
Spread this out, and then we can put in that image map. So,
Which nowadays is basically confound the minutes of being put live.
okay, let me pull up our earlier image map.
You got hordes of random poor people on the internet that will just click around and find things. And then post about them on social media.
Yes.
But even if the people you went to hide it from don't find it, somebody will find it for them.
When did we do image maps? That was near the beginning, wasn't it?
Visual elements, maybe, or pseudo elements.
I didn't see it on here.
No. It was one where we had
I don't see any pictures on here. Wasn't needed. No, it was a while ago.
No, it was a while ago. You drew like a picture of like a circle and a square and a triangle for that. Form? No, not form, not table. Jerry did pseudo.
Maybe there's not a link to it on this page.
It would have been like week 2, so that didn't. That last one was week 3 example.
Okay. I might have just forgot the thing, so I'll do this. So here's the basic image map. Right, we have this image here. The whole thing's clickable, but we can break it down into having spots that are clickable. Maybe, yeah. So now only little spots clickable, and they have to add some highlighting specifically over that, which isn't maybe not the best way to indicate that. We can see it showing up, but I have an example to look at. Yeah. So we have our image, and then we set up a map with a bunch of areas. I was trying to look at our example. I think I forgot to link to it. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, that
Image source equals, and I completely forgot what I called that picture. Smile.paint. And then we have to give it a name, so we can, or not a name, we have to actually say, use it as a map. And then use the name from that. So preview from here, use map equals over. And then we can set up our map with name equal hover. And I forgot this one, we do need the hash sign, hashtag or pound sign, number symbol. Lots of names for that one. And inside we need at least one area, making a map. Area, shape is a circle because the only thing in that picture was a smiley face, right? Circle takes 3 numbers, and then what's it do when we click on it? Chords is, and we can find those numbers here. Oh, that's in the way. If I go like selection tool, notice in the bottom right of Microsoft Paint, which is behind Zoom thumbnails here. I like to do point this out in Microsoft Paint because we can get it even from the cheapest or even from the lousiest graphic software. As we move the mouse around, we get the XY coordinates down in the lower left, telling us where the Y is. So it looks like the center of that is about 85. 90-80, that'll work. 90-80, and if I come straight over to about here, 132, if we started at 90, that would be a radius of 40. So 90-80 with a radius of 40 is roughly where that circle is. Centered there, radius of 40. That'll be good. Hyperlink reference is some random page. Smiley face Wikipedia. I bet there's a Wikipedia page telling us the whole history of the American smiley face as we know it. Since the 1950s, blah, 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 blah. There's a big history on the smiley face. And not really a new symbol. These pictures don't go very old. 1741, so I'm pretty sure I've seen at times pictures a lot older than the 1740s that was just a very rough human smiling. The people thought still kind of fit there. That looks like a good thing to link to from that picture. Obviously a random example, but we'll link to that page. In the area tag. So, we want target equals underscore blank, so it opens in a new page. There's like 3 more options we can put in there, but the other 2 don't really do anything. We can open in a new window. Blank is a new tab. Open in the same tab. Open a new instance of the browser. But we don't really. It's very uncommon to see those anymore. So when we're hovering over there, we can click on it, and we can see our cursor change to tell it's there. But we don't really know what that's going to do. This actually showed up when I was teaching a class in spring of 2020, right before everything shut down. Somebody asked, we didn't see image maps till odds and ends at the end, and somebody asked like, "Hey, can that hover text we just saw work there?" So we threw it in there, and it worked. And I've shown it to every class since then. So abbreviate title equals. Click to see the history of smiley faces. And notice the abbreviation tag surrounds the area tag, which probably really needs, let me turn off word graph. That's not very clear. So the abbreviation tag goes around the area tag, just like text, so we can nest things in there. You take that a step further and just do an abbreviation so that hover text around a link, and then get a nice long description of where that's going to end up. We reload it, get some hover text on our image map, which can be really, really useful. And at least twice that I've taught this class, somebody pointed out that they never realized what that underlining was for. I've used the internet, it's happened at least twice. We're like, I use the internet every day. I've seen that symbol many, many, many times. I didn't know I could hover over that text.
I'm pretty sure when I originally, like, it was like oh, hey, wait a minute, like an accidental mouse raising it, realizing something happened.
I think that's how all of us have learned it.
And I know that you can style it differently because I've seen websites that
you can style it.
that have that, but it looks different. Like, they'll have it obviously appears a different colored text or whatever.
Oh yeah, you can do that, but
or remove the underline or do whatever. Like I've seen people style that pop up with different
things. So we know how to style stuff. So if I hover over, if I put that up in the inspector, this paragraph, choose this. Notice how all we have is a dotted underline. There's already CSS properties, so you can just change that to whatever you want to do for that. Also, we have a dotted underline property we can use anywhere. If you haven't stumbled across that yet. So that's abbreviations. SVG graphics, we'll come back and look at those, and then or anything, we'll come back and look at other one. So I want to do one more thing to wrap up today. Another link to that link. That's going to be abbreviate.html, the APPR tag. And I'll create a new HTML file. What can I call this? Anyway, thus far, everything's always the same, right? The only thing we've done with CSS so far today is the meter. But at this point, every time we style a page, we set those style rules and then it looks like that. We saw maybe like hover and active and a couple pseudo elements where things change briefly depending on what we're doing. But once we set those style rules in, they never change. After a while, that's going to get just as boring as the black letters on a white background, right? We can do better. We can add some dynamic aspects to this. You also have variables in this same example, but I'm going to probably do variables in the later. So let's save this as animate.html. In the little template part, we will need a style sheet. So let's set up a style sheet. Relevance is style sheet. At this point in the semester, though, hopefully this is feeling a lot more familiar, right? This part kind of goes quick. Or you probably have several places you can copy and paste from. Hyperlink reference, haven't made it yet, but let's make one called animate.css. Make it nice and clear which HTML file it goes with. And then create animate.css. So what might we need on here? What did I put here? Oh, that's the one I printed. I just grabbed an old example and printed it really quick. I must have done it closer to Groundhog's Day at the time. But yeah, we don't need much here. So let's make maybe a section. In that section, we can put a paragraph. Yeah, whatever example I used before, I put the word groundhog there, so feeling the animation that I printed out this morning just kind of comes out. Yeah, oh yeah. The words show up on the page, a box shadow forms, and then the words disappear from the page really quickly. It made sense. Actually, that would probably work. So like a groundhog, it's still February, so something like Groundhog's Day. We want that to come out on the page. HTML. So those words on the page, but they're pretty boring now. For one, you probably have a background of a background color that looks like a groundhog, which I guess would be brown. I'm going to add in the section, give it an ID equal thing. It's the only thing on our page. Background color brown. Foreground color gray. Is there a reddish gray? I really like Let's see what that looks like next round. Okay, yeah, something like the colors of groundhog. Kind of why we don't need to take up the whole space. Let's do a minimum width. Minimum width. 3 elements, so it's got to be at least 3 elements wide, which breaks it away from the default. And I'll save that. Okay, I will just make it instead of 3, 23, so it's nice and short. That's too short. 13. Oops. Undo. I put 1 there. That's what I meant to do. There we go. So I have this nice little groundhog thing. Maybe some padding on every side. 8 pixels on every side. There we go. And along with the idea of a groundhog, we probably put a box shadow around it, right? For Groundhog's Day. Box shadow, make it big. So like come out 14 pixels one direction, 22 pixels the other direction. We'll go the whole way, set the blur radius up to like 30 pixels so we get our entire spread both directions. And then some sort of color. 21, 21, 21 is a very dark gray, almost black. There we go. So a little going back a couple weeks, Groundhog Day. Groundhog sees groundhog with the shadow. But it's kind of boring. You put those style rules on there and nothing ever changes with them. Probably around the corners, right? Order radius 22%. There we go. Round it off a little bit, but nothing ever changes. It's kind of boring. It doesn't fit with Groundhog's Day yet. So that's one place where CSS animations come in. I always like to put them above. The order does not matter as long as they're in the CSS frame somewhere. You'll remember how we've seen a couple things start with the @ symbol. Some media queries, or when we brought in our own fonts. What do we need? What do we need for animations? Right? Anybody that's ever done animations, you probably encountered keyframes. We set up just a few important parts along the way, and then the computer fills in the gaps between. So we can do that in CSS as well. So keyframes, and then we need to give it some sort of a name. Grand entrance. And then we're adding CSS properties. In particular, we'll add 2 more CSS selectors here, the from and to. Where are we starting at and where are we going to? So let's say left. I'm not exactly sure how far left. I know this is going to be 13 EM wide. So we go we have a calculate function if we need to do some math. Much easier to do the math in CSS and just print it back out to the HTML than that one we did earlier. Much more, even more sensible to just do calculations of the JavaScript, but we're in CSS right now. So calculation, we know we need to go 13 EM. Negative 13 EM to the left is going to be completely off the screen. Oh, you go off the screen, we better set this to relative positioning or something. That way we can use left and top. But we want to go further than that so that it's not barely off the screen. We need to pass that shadow 30 pixels. Negative 13 EM minus 20 pixels, be good. Because I'm also gonna get rid of the shadow in a moment. And when we come in, we'll go left, and we'll just come like, I don't know, 15. Which again, we haven't used it in a moment. 15%. We're going 15% from the left, and then we'll turn on our shadow.
We need a thing then.
I will do so. I'm going to comment it out. So let's just comment it out right now. Because we can handle it. There's two different ways to handle it. And then there's a couple things that we need. We need an animation name. Well, we see the list. We have a whole bunch of stuff. There's a couple that we absolutely need. And they should be obvious. Which animation is it? And how long does it take to do that stuff? So name and duration, we absolutely have to have those. The others are very useful. And this is why I'm doing this last, because this is what I figure y'all would do as like lab time, play around with animations and do. Instead of just setting the style rules, change the style rules. What did we do so far? We did grand entrance. How do I spell it? I spelled it wrong. Grand entrance. And we'll do another one in a moment. Animation duration. 4 seconds. We'll see what that looks like. Now when we reload it, notice it comes in there and the shadow appears afterwards. But it went away at this point. Actually, yeah. Actually, we don't need to keep the thing there because the whole nature of I wanted some sort of theme. We haven't done anything with the theme, right? Groundhog sees its shadow. Groundhogs don't run away from their shadow.
Shelter place that's
Right around February 2nd, I saw the groundhog in my yard standing out there on a bright sunny day.
Yeah,
It had no trouble with it. It was not concerned at all about it, but
I don't care.
yeah.
So after it finishes playing the animation, then it puts it then goes back to wherever the heck the thing is default doing.
Yes.
I know it's because now it's snapped over there and it's lost the
Yeah, so we should probably do that left. 15%, and then uncomment this, and now it should end at our style. And then when it's done, it just kind of stays around. So subtle entrances, that's what you probably want. For a theme, I wanted to do something a little bit more extreme. So groundhog comes out, sees the shadow. So let's do another, let's do an exit. Keyframes, numbers. That fits with it. And our keyframes always have the from and to selectors. Well, the to is going to be this. We'll go back to the same spot, way off the screen. I'm going to start at this. Here. And on the two, like the name implies, I don't want it to just move smoothly back off the left. So we have transformations available. Such as rotation. So we say rotate 270 degrees. So it also flips as it moves back off the screen. And notice, just like when it came on, I'm removing the box shadow at this point. That's why it probably wouldn't hurt much to do that. Or we could make the shadow bigger, smaller. And then if we need to make that happen, on animation name and duration and all the other properties, we can separate them. Use a comma to separate them. So we'll run this animation, and then this animation, and then things have to line up. So 4 seconds on the first animation, and 2 seconds on the second one.
Okay.
Right? Run in their own order.
It's going 2 seconds, play the one, 4 seconds, play the other. I think.
Yes, but what is it doing them?
It's not like doing the entrance, then waiting 2 seconds to do the thing. It's like doing 2 seconds from the moment you load the page to the ending animation, then do the front.
Yes, it's doing them both at the same time. So that one finished first, and then the other one lasts. It still lasts. So we have to do a little bit of math. Animation duration. So our first one, let's wait maybe 1 second. So 1 second, and then 4 seconds for it to get out. This is up to 5 seconds. Maybe one more. We'll delay 6. Oops.
That's their delay.
Oh, thank you. Delay 6 seconds, and now it should do the first one and then the second one.
Because you have a second before it starts, it has it on screen at first. So you want to have it at 0, I guess. So they would know to immediately start outside and bring it in.
Yes. And there's a property for this, which animation film mode. So film mode is what we do before or after. So we can do film mode, keep it the way it was before our animation started, or after, or both. Animation film mode to both. And now I apparently made a typo in there. Let me open the inspector and see why the first one didn't run. Actually, I think I need both of them. Both, comma, both. What's this do? Oh, can't get a predictive text on that one. Really, I just want the before.
Like I said, I think about 1 second delay. It's just gonna start on screen. It's not its default is to sit there.
Can try 0. Yeah, without that, it should fill beforehand, but I'm not sure exactly why it was doing that, but I guess at this point we could take this off. So then it should look like back into a position we can see. A little bit too quick. So let me make this 4 seconds. So as soon as the first one ends, it'll jump into the second one. And kind of a little bit fancier way to bring our designs on our style on the page. Maybe it loads as a white page and then all the other stuff filters in there. There's lots of different ones we can do. How many times do we want to do that? I probably wouldn't make much sense in the little thing here. Animation, iteration, count. All right, let's do it 3 times. I start joking. So, yeah, we can change the number of times it'll happen. I'm gonna comment that line out because it doesn't make much sense with a little bit of coloring and words that we put on there. Animation direction. We have forward, reverse, and alternate. Obviously, forward's the one we set up. Reverse is going to look strange. Going to go the opposite direction. Actually, it didn't look that strange. Didn't look as strange as I expected. I guess it's the other view. Groundhog leaves the hole and then falls back into it. But it goes the other opposite direction, or we can alternate. Usually for coming on and leaving the page, it would be an alternate thing. It comes on and then alternate goes the opposite direction. Oh, because we have 2 animations here, alternate doesn't make much sense. I'll put it back to reverse. Any other useful ones? I'm going to point to something on W3 schools. CSS animation, W3 schools. So the timing function, a couple of them might be straightforward. Things that you'd be familiar with, delay. I want to talk about what a Bezier curve is.
What?
Is that pass? Timing function. Is there not referencing? Yeah, there's fill mode. Forwards, backwards, or both directions. It didn't seem to work with the delay though. Awesome, here we go. These are probably straightforward. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, if you roll that up here, I'm gonna try for a minute to get new furniture. These chairs were old when I came here as a student in 2011. A chair, the back of the chair broke on him. In a pinch or scratch?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I see it like sharp pointed piece of plastic, but gotta get new chairs in here. Okay, so these are straightforward, linear. Ease means it's gonna start slow and then speed up. Ease in, it starts slow and then normal speed. Ease out, it starts normal speed and then slows down again. Ease in and ease out. The beginning and end are slowed down like 10% or so. Those very endpoints are slowed down and the middle runs at normal speed. Those are all straightforward. Cubic Basier might seem a little bit different.
What?
They don't have an example of it, do they? Oh, let's put a Cubic Basier in there. They took it out of their example.
What in the heck is a cubic?
It is a curve. Actually, I can show you with Inkscape. I just installed Inkscape this morning. I didn't know if we'd get to SVGs or not, but I was wanting to wrap up at 3 o'clock and it's 1 minute till 3, so I'm not gonna get to see it.
At least today.
Yeah. So it's software opens. 3. There we go. New document. So let me draw 2 lines. So here's some straight lines. And click here. I'll come up here. Down here, up here. And there's just some nice straight lines. I don't want the fill. No fill. Just the outline. I only make it wider. Okay, that way we can see it. So fairly straightforward, and then this is options for a Bezier curve. And instead of straight lines, I'm going to try to click in about the same points or close to them. So I click there, and then here, still got a straight line, but when I bring it down to the next point, it changed to a nice smooth curve. And when I click this one, the curve changes as I click all those points. So see how we have a nice smooth curve instead of those sharp edges between the lines. That's a cubic Bezier line. Smooths out the thing. That's a very simplified one. As a spline. What this one does is these are fractions. So we have 2, 3, 5, 8, 2. So let me go ahead and run this. It'll be the bottom one here. Yeah, ignore the label. It started slow, then got fast, then got slow, got really, really slow, and then was almost at the end. So do some quick math. So we say cubic Bezier, and I have to look up those numbers I've typed in there again. 3582. So 3 and 5 is 8, plus 8 is 16, plus 2 more is 18. So we have 18 parts. So there are 4 sections. We've got 4 sections on our curve with 18 parts. So our denominators are all 18ths. We divide up the distance. It's a moving one. So the computer looked and determined that the major change is distance there. So for the first quarter of the distance, it does it in 3/18 of the time. The second quarter of the distance, it does it in 5/18 of the time. 8/18, and then 2/18. So
it
starts slow.
It's adding up those numbers 5, 3, 8.
Okay. Yeah. So it handles all that, but it creates a fraction from these, and then that's how it splits up the thing and creates smooth transitions. So you can just keep adding as many as you want I did 4, you could do 16, you could do 3. But you have absolute control over how much it's gonna happen in each little breakdown. That's kind of a complicated one. The others are very intuitive, right? Linear is a straight line. It moves at this one speed the whole way. Ease in and ease out, right? Starts slow, then gets faster, or starts fast and gets slower. And cubic Bezier, we have control over each little section of it. We control how many sections there are, and how quickly each one is done. I mostly just wanted to do that to talk about the cubic Bezier one. It comes on, and then flips back to the original position. So probably didn't have to flip back quite that far. Probably make that smoother if we only came back to
If you just left off, what did?
Let's see what this looks like. Flip back, and then kind of settled into that end position.
But it seems like you'd want the destination to be wherever the code in the base position, and then
Exactly. That's why I showed this last. I wanted to wrap up about 3 o'clock today because I had a feeling y'all might want to play around with that stuff. Any CSS property we have, any of them we've seen this semester, right? If you want to change between fonts, we looked at movie fonts. Did we do Harry Potter and Godfather fonts? That's what we've been using. You could animate this transition. Start with it looking like the Godfather font, and then animate it into the Harry Potter font.
oh, so you go like start in this font and
change colors. Yeah, any CSS property.
Huh.
That's font family. So all you do is just animate your font family.
Like from font family Godfather to font family color font.
Something that's not copyrighted. But yeah, it was clearly from the Harry Potter. So any property we've seen, you can animate. I had a feeling y'all might want to start doing that. Let's add that on the reference here. The href equals animate.html, CSS animations. So, probably want to start working on adding that in somewhere, and I can upload this. I'll ask, does anybody have any questions? So we'll have at least one more day of just random odds and ends and things that I found useful that over the years that didn't make the cut. I don't think we have any more technicalities that just prove that it's possible to do math with HTML. The rest of them rest of the odds and ends are all some that I have found to be really useful. On Wednesday this week, we're going to look at, what are we looking at? Search engine optimization, and our book still labels that chapter e-commerce. I think the homework in the statewide course shell says e-commerce, but I think you all know that's not how we speak, right? We use that word in like 2010, 2005, we would say e-commerce, but nowadays nowadays it's shopping. And if we're going to go to an actual store, we specify it separately. So computers are the default shopping. So I guess it is just commerce these days. But aside from that label, we still do that. What the book has might not exactly be up to date. So what we're going to look at is putting a PayPal button and credit card accepting stuff in there. We'll look at PayPal, but obviously Venmo and Apple Pay, Google Pay, Chase Pay, any of them that you look at, they're going to have the same thing as what we see in PayPal, and it's it really should have went in last week's lecture when we were doing all that copy and paste code because of this copy and paste code. Like the carts are already made for us. We just copy and paste them into our site. Really, really easy. Which one did we just do? Oh, odds and ends. Upload. Okay, that was a few seconds since I asked if anybody had any questions. Uh-oh, something failed. So I assume no, the silence means no questions. If you have any, let me know. I think everything's here. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, that was it for today. I'll see y'all on Wednesday. We'll do shopping, a quick note on shopping, a modern version of it, not what's in the textbook. And then we'll talk about search engine optimization. See you all then.
Someone just called me.